Hello, everybody. I hope all is well with you. I am Demetra K. Again, I hope you're having a great day. I am sitting here with Donovan, a recovering Democrat Saadiq, also known as the Black Yule Brenner. Today, we're going to be talking about ex-MAGA members saying that Republicans should vote Democrat to teach the party and Trump a lesson. He feels as though things are not aligning up the way Trump, MAGA, and the Republicans said that they would when he took office the second time around. Of course, this message is going to be coming to you from as I said, a staunch, well, he used to be anyway. It seems like he's not a Republican anymore. That of Nick Fuentes, who is giving them the blues. And so I'm going to show y'all that video and just a few. But I should also say, and I forgot to put them up, but I'll just remind y'all. You know what? Let me see if I can find them real quick. I apologize for that. So much going on here. Okay, so let's put this one up first. So, of course, I will be in Ohio along with Brother Field, African Diaspora News Channel, May 23rd, is Saturday. Again, Ohio Black Expo. You can get your tickets at ohioblackexpo.com, ohioblackexpo.com. And right now, today, they started a new sale. So go to the website and check it out. Sounds like they have tickets for a discount. So if you're in the Columbus, Ohio area, or, Ohio, or wherever you're coming from, right? Because people came from all over to say hello to us and to, have a conversation with us and all of that. So get your tickets so that you can do that. I cannot wait to see you all there, please. And thank you. Okay, let's see if I can find my other one really quick because, I just need to show y'all that. Here we go. And of course, later on up the road, we will be in Toronto, Canada, July 25th. And we are going to have another great conversation. And, this is just the beginning, really, because people are going to start to invite us, and they have started to invite us different places to speak. So, the message of the African Diaspora News Channel is spreading. People really like what we're talking about. But again, you can join us in Toronto, Canada at the AD&C Narrative Power Summit, where we're talking about media literacy, community voice, real change, and a whole host of other topics where you will be able to, ask us questions, and we just have a real good conversation, sort of like we do here, right? But in order to do that, you must get your tickets at africandiasporanews.org/Canada. Again, africandiasporanews.org/Canada. I cannot wait to see you all there. Donovan, what you got going on?
Well, it is Sunday and it's 3 p.m. here. If it's 3 p.m. here, that means it's time for the Demetra K Show. Hey, you guys, we want to thank you guys for joining us. We know you guys have a lot of things going on. Just coming out of church, you got your chicken on the stove, ready to sit down and watch some TV. Maybe some of you guys need to take your medicine and all that other great stuff, and you decided to tune in with us. Do us a favor on the way in. It's absolutely free. Hit that like button. It is free. It helps the algorithm, and we get a lot of reach out when you do that. And thanks to all you OGs that have been rocking with us: Mike Nice, Sunlight, Beverly White, King Noble. I mean, we can go on and on and on. Miss Diane, Empress Wright, all of you guys that hang out with us. But do us a favor. We have a scrolling banner at the bottom. It does take time and effort to make these great videos and conversations. If you guys want to donate, there's ways you can do it. You could do it by Cash App, PayPal, Venmo, cash, money order, however you guys want to do that. Demetra gets up super early in the morning, and if you guys want to contribute to her coffee fund, you can do that. Feel free to buy her a cup of coffee. She would really appreciate it. We went to Costa Rica, and she is a coffee connoisseur, so she knows what she's doing when it comes to the coffee. Also, please, you guys, do not forget to download the African Diaspora News Channel app. You can get it on Google Play, Apple Store. The greatest gift you can give anybody that can never be taken away from them is knowledge, and knowledge is power. So if you have the knowledge, you have the power. African Diaspora News Channel app on Google Play, Apple Store. Just want to give a big shout out. My great nephew stopped by to see the old uncle, make sure I was alive, and just checking in on me. I'm not sure if he was just like scouting the house for future reference or anything like that, but I really do appreciate the fact that he did stop by, only for a few minutes, and it's so sad that we don't teach the younger generations to check on the older folks, even if it's just for a few minutes. Like I said, it's my great nephew. I'm happy to see him. I don't get a chance to spend as much time as I would like, but it's good to lay your eyes on your legacy and your family's legacy as the family moves forward. So it's good to see him. But let's get into this great conversation. Take it away.
Absolutely. And I am very remiss. I forgot to say, and thank you to YouTube and Facebook. You are the other side of the conversation. And to my wonderful moderators for all that you do in holding down the comment section. I really love and appreciate you for that. Brother Stephen, how you doing? Tell your wife I said hello. Brother Jonelle, what is going on with you? And let's see, Hobby, he says, voting for millions of undocumented immigrants to get everything. No thanks. Well, we're going to get into it. I mean, this guy, he's making his case. Nick Fuentes is who it is. And a lot of y'all probably know who he is. If you don't, you will by the time I show you this video. But I want to preface it by saying, of course, depending on who you believe, we may or may not be in a war with Iran. When I say we, I mean the United States as backing Israel. Of course, there was what they call a preemptive strike that took place Saturday morning, our time. So a lot of people woke up to the news that Israel had struck Iran. Okay. So from that point, it sounds like it was some, weapons going back and forth and things like that. Also, the supreme leader Ayatollah Khamenei, he was neutralized in that. He had been reigning over Iran since 1979. Of course, the United States and Israel are touting a regime change in that the people of Iran was wanting that, but the old regime did not want to give up the reins and this, that, and the other. And they also being United States and Israel saying, well, we got good word that Iran were building a, kaboom. These words I just really can't say like that. I wish that I could, but here and there I can. And so they wanted to neutralize Iran so that they would not get a nuclear weapon superpower type thing. Now, of course, we know that the United States struck them sometime last year, where Trump said, oh, we have completely, totally destroyed their nuclear weapon, making abilities. Well, common sense will tell anybody, well, if you did that back then, why you need to do it again, right? But they know most people ain't going to be paying attention. So nevertheless, there has been some service people that have been killed and injured. Israel, all these eyes, Israel struck a school in Iran full of girls. And I think they said it kind of depends. About 70 or so students were killed and a lot of them were hurt. And the number just kind of fluctuates from here and there as to the fatalities of what they are. But Iran has struck Dubai. They have struck Israel. They have struck a few U.S. military bases, hence the casualties of some of the service members.
Yeah, the Fifth Fleet in Bahrain, Qatar, a lot of the military bases were hit.
Yeah. And so there's a lot going on, uncertainty. Of course, I don't know if you guys heard about what happened in Austin, Texas. There was a guy from Senegal. This is all alleged, right? But allegedly, well, he had a shirt that says, oh gosh, something Allah, praying for Allah or something like that. Well, he went into a bar and he killed 3 people and injured and wounded 14. And so they are kind of trying to say it's an act of terrorism, that this might be all falling out from what happened in Iran. So depending on who you believe, some people are for the strike, but they said about 80% of Americans polled say they are against what the United States and Israel have done. Now, it's also said that Trump is saying rather that Iran did not want to have conversations or negotiations rather with Israel and the U.S. And so therefore they took matters into their own hands. Now, it's also speculated that Trump was thinking that, okay, we strike them and then they're going to wave the red flag, especially if we take out the white flag, rather, if we take out their leader. But that hasn't happened. In fact, Iran is like, hold our beer. Now, we don't have weapons that go far enough to the United States, but we could touch your bases and all the other things that are near and dear to you. Hence Dubai, right? They hit a grand hotel over there where people are like, wait a minute now, what this got to do with us type thing, right? So Iran is basically saying, well, we got you. We got you, right? So there's a lot of uncertainty. Of course, there's a lot of conversation about sleeper cells over here, of course, with the open borders that took place over the Biden administration and things like that. So a lot of people are uncertain. I would just to say this, as Honorable Elijah Muhammad has warned us, stay out of large crowds, especially now, because yes, there are some people who are not happy with what happened. But I'm going to show y'all this video of Nick Fuentes and why he feels like Republicans or MAGA needs to go ahead and vote for the Democrats. Here we go.
Gone horribly wrong. All of those people, with some exceptions, were never Trumpers in 2016. Shapiro didn't vote for Trump in 16. Mark Levin was critical of Trump in 2016. Where were these people when the movement was actually born, when those pillars were in place? Now all of those people are in the center. The movement is something else now. And what we need in 2028, this is our last chance, we need in 2026 for this administration to be shut down. What does this administration do other than cover up the Epstein files, embezzle money through government contracts, and bring us to war for Israel? This administration needs to be shut down immediately. Do not vote in the midterms. And if you do, vote for Democrats. That is what the Republicans deliver. That is what our golden age looks like. The tariffs were refunded. The deportations were stopped. They wound down and withdrew the ICE from Minneapolis. What does this administration do other than embezzle money, go to war with Iran, and bury the Epstein files? Oh, and blackmail Harvard so they police anti-Semitism and ban people who criticize Israel from being in America. This administration needs to be shut down immediately. It has forfeited its mandate. They promise no new wars. They promise mass deportations in America first, and we're not getting any of it. So shut it down. In 2026, shut it down. And our only hope is that in 2028, in the Republican primary, somebody will emerge who will actually put America first. I am not voting for the vice president and the secretary of state that brought us to war in Iran. I won't do it. 2026, shut it down. You got to burn the house down with them inside, metaphorically. And in 28, you better hope that somebody has a prayer to run the Trump strategy and do another hostile takeover over the GOP. Otherwise, I'm going to become a Democrat. Like, at that point, rather than be beholden to this country, that is our last chance. 28 Republican primary, we need a Trumpian figure to relight the candle. Someone needs to take the flame and take it further than Trump. He needs to take the baton and take it further and fulfill America first. That is the only way out of this at this point. And anybody that is not on this is not serious. The only takeaway that I have from all of these events, you are not pressuring this administration. All these people told us, if Trump brings us to war in Iran, we'll just tweet about it. Yeah, well, that's not really working.
Okay, so again, that was Nick Fuentes, and he has a rather large platform. Okay, so I know I see a lot of people with comments, and I'll get to all of those, but he has a rather large platform. His followers are called the Groypers, and they kind of weird. But anyway, he has a large following, and they are very impactful and powerful. So when I saw this video, I said, "Oh, isn't that interesting?" Because of course, it is speculated that the House will probably swing back to Democrat, right? And that's going to, in a sense, tie Trump's hands, because right now he has a free pass to do whatever he wants, including this war that may not be a war, that may be a conflict. Congress and Republicans and Democrats are saying, okay, we need to reconvene early so we can vote on this war, and they're hoping to stop it. Right, because Trump is saying, I don't need permission to do that. And they're like, yeah, you do need permission to do it. And so I'm just putting, Nick Fuentes is in, and he's super racist too, I should say that. But he has a large following. So, of course, he named things like the Epstein file. He says that, there's embezzlement going on. I don't know a whole lot about that. He talked about Israel a lot. The tariffs are being refunded because, the Supreme Court basically said, yeah, Trump, your tariffs, war per se is illegal. And so a lot of states are suing, saying, hey, you need to run us our money back because we paid a lot in tariffs and things like that. And then he said the deportations have stopped. And I was thinking about that today, too. I was like, wow, Minneapolis just or Minnesota, rather, just silent. You don't hear anything at all, right? Especially since Tom Homan, the borders took over from Greg Bovino, because Greg Bovino was in there rocking sock'em, but then Tom Homan was like, okay, I'm going to go up in there, and they sent a lot of the agents home and things like that, so I don't really know what's going on. It's kind of quiet. Then he says, now we are in a war with Iran. Now, a lot of people are saying, well, is it a war? I will tell you this. Lindsey Graham was on, I can't remember which program today, and they asked him, is this a war? And he basically was like, well, he didn't know, but then he says, well, if you ask Iran, they'll say yeah. So he didn't say no. Okay, just putting that out there. Then, of course, he cited Harvard, and a whole lot of educational institutions had to sign different contracts and agreements in regards to anti-Semitism. And I think Harvard is one of the last holdouts. They're like, no, we're not going to do it. And so you probably saw that the Secretary of War, Pete Hegseth, basically said that military members are not allowed to go to certain schools. Harvard is being one of them because those schools, I guess, will not sign whatever contract that is. And then, of course, he said that Trump and the MAGA, and, you know, especially now, ran on no more wars. And Trump was very vehement and vocal about saying no more wars. I mean, he made the Department of Peace and all these other things, right? I don't know how it's working out in any campaign for the Nobel Peace, hence the word Peace Prize. But, you know, of course, not too long ago, they went and gaffled up the president out of Venezuela and kidnapped the whole country along with him. Okay. So I don't know how that's going. And then lastly, he basically said, well, second to last, Trump was supposed to be putting America first, but America is last. Depending on who you believe, things are not going well for Americans here. And then he says at the end of the day, in 2028, the Trump strategy that he had in mind at first needs to be put in place by somebody who is serious, for lack of better words. But he said until then, he's impressing upon people who follow him or whatever and himself to vote Democrat. Now, before I give this to Donovan, I have been saying this. I have been saying that the pendulum will swing from one end to the other because of extremism on both sides, whether it's your Democrat or whether it's a Republican. The Democrats have the borders wide open, let everybody come on in, you know, illegal immigrants first type thing. So the pendulum swung all the way to the right, where now you have Trump and all of the things that he's got going on. And so a lot of people who are thinking that somebody like a Nick Fuentes is just bumping his gums. Oh, yeah, he's got a hell of a base. And that's the kind of momentum I think that will help the Democrats. I don't necessarily think that they should be in power, but I think that type of speaking, if you will help sway a lot of Republicans. A lot of Republicans are doing that anyway because they don't like what's going on. But yeah, it really remains to be seen. But this is very, very interesting. Donovan, and I'll get into you guys in the comments in just a minute.
Yes. First, I'm going to say this. We are not at a war because the president doesn't have the power to declare war. Only Congress has that power. Same action, different results. So technically, we are not at war. We are in a operation that the president has the authorization through the War Powers Act to work and send troops anywhere he wants for 90 days. If Congress had a problem with that, they could have changed that law knowing that they have a rogue president in office. Now, again, it doesn't matter if you like it or not. That is the rule. They have given him in the modern age, they cannot have time to debate if we're going to war or not. And I'm not making excuses, but in the modern age, you saw how fast those missiles hit, right? And things like that was going on over there, right? The president needs to make the decision as he's making the decision. Now, once the troops are in harm's way, what the hell do you think Congress is going to do once the president places the troops in harm's way? They're going to have to support this whole BS that's going on. Recently, in this administration, Congress recently repealed 9/11 Act, which gave the president unilateral power to go to war in the Middle East under Bush. They just did that. They just repealed that. But in general, his War Powers Act is still in power. And I just want to say this. Are you guys entertained? Are you guys entertained? They do this. Every president does it. Obama takes the same authorization and overturns Libya. There was no outcry when Libya was being done by a Democrat. These people are the same people, right? What Nick Fuentes is saying, and I'm going to say this for myself, and you guys do me a favor, hit that like button if you guys are enjoying the content. I personally am not going to do anything that is going to benefit. When I hear white people complaining about what is unfair, I have to laugh to myself, and I will never vote in the context that white supremacy is asking me to vote because they feel it's unfair. Okay, so I'm not going to do that. How many times have I told you guys, when a president is in his second term, everything that he or she has promised means nothing because they are technically a lame duck. You don't think Donald Trump knows that? You don't think, hey, I have nothing to lose here. He's not running for office tomorrow. How are you going to punish him? He's not running for office in the next cycle. So what he does, the next president has to clean up. But what we, the American people, don't understand, these parties are working together. Hey, man, I'll play the bad guy this time. You play it next time. Do you see how this ping pong ball is going? We recently voted against the Democrats to cost them the election in the last election cycle. Now Nick Fuentes is saying, oh, if you're a Republican, you should vote Democrat. Are you entertained? Do you see what is going on right now? This is how politics is played. And guess what happens? Nothing for you. Do you know how much those missiles cost that are dropped on Israel? I'm going to share something with you guys. I looked at my stocks. Nothing's happening now, but I invest heavily in the defense of this country. From what I'm hearing from other people who also do the same, those billion-dollar bombs that are being dropped and weapons that are being used, because remember, we sell a lot of our weapons to Israel. People who invested in those stocks are going to make a lot of money. Now, I'm just an average guy. You think about the billionaires and the Nancy Pelosi's and all these people who have insider knowledge. Go look at tomorrow. I want you guys to go and look at Nancy Pelosi's portfolio and see how much money she's making. And you mean to tell me, as a member of Congress and an inside trader, she doesn't know that Trump was going to do this? It is what it is. Like I said, I'm not surprised by any of this, but it is the political game that we play. And guess what? All of this is done in our names, and we allow it. We allow it. Doesn't matter if you're a Democrat or a Republican. These are the same people. They're the same people. And I will say this. There's an old saying. When someone shows you who they are, believe them the first time. If you like Donald Trump or if you don't like Donald Trump, and I'm speaking to my people specifically, when he said, forget all the BS, and I'm paraphrasing, forget all the BS, we can at least agree that Americans should be placed above illegal foreigners in our country. And the Democrats did not stand. They're showing you who they are. Let's go back to Kamala Harris. When she said, I'm not going to do anything specifically for Black people. No. They're showing you who they are. We need to wake up and just start believing these people. I thought it was atrocious that the Democrats, other than John Fetterman, did not stand for American people. What are these people telling you in the Black community? Detroit, New York, Los Angeles. We already see it in real time. Believe them. But let's see what you guys got to say.
Absolutely. And hello to everybody. Frank, what's going on with you? I've been reading the comments, and y'all got a lot to say. I think the consensus is that you all do not like Nick Fuentes, and it's fair. You know, he is a very racist. I don't know if Nick likes anybody. Let's see. But sans what Nick is saying, okay? Sans, forget what he's saying. There are a lot of people, I would say a lot of Republicans, well, Democrats and Republicans, who are getting, you know, some of that good old fashioned, we don't care about you either, from the Trump administration. You hear about farmers, right? Because the tariffs, so from what Trump was saying, the tariffs were supposed to help the farmers, right? Remember, he promised them like $12 billion bailout or something like that, but he was going to be getting them from the tariffs. Well, the Supreme Court said, nah, you can't do that, right? So he's mad and everything like that. So you got a lot of people losing their farms. And it's not just necessarily Republicans, it's Democrats too as well, I guess. Healthcare is up in the air. They haven't even talked about that anymore. So a lot of Americans have lost their healthcare because they cannot afford it anymore. Of course, the jobs, especially when Elon was up in there doing the slashing on the federal level. And not even that, you got a lot of the oligarchies who own these companies laying off a bunch of people. What was it the other day? Some big corporation, I can't remember. It's one every day. It seems like laid off a lot of people, and a lot of people are just, struggling with money. And so a lot of people are saying, yeah, and the Epstein file is a huge thing. A lot of people are saying they think that this war was started due to the cover up of the Epstein files, because there's it's from what they're saying in Congress, there's a file pertaining to a 13-year-old that specifically names that of the president and that he did something to her, and that file has been removed. And so they're wanting to know, why has that particular file been removed? So I'm just telling you, the speculation and things that our people are saying as to what's going on. But let me finish. So sans what Nick is saying, there's a lot of other people who are like, yeah, I didn't necessarily vote for this. And in regards to John Fetterman, who says that he's a Democrat, he doesn't act like a Democrat, at all. And I should say too, I meant to say that it seems that Trump may be losing the narrative because a lot of people are pissed that Americans have, are starting to die over this, Iran war conflict, whatever it is. And so it's speculated that he thought that would be it. Iran would say, oh, okay, we're going to tap out here, but they're not. They're actually like, we're going, to the wall with it. So there's a lot more context involved with that.
Yeah, I just wanted to, I've heard that narrative too. He went to war to hide the Epstein files. Now, I'm not giving anybody credit, and I'm not saying that it isn't possible, but I'm going to say fairly unlikely, because it doesn't make sense, and it's not, to me, logical. To me, it's not logical that you are going to kill thousands of people to keep your name out of to keep your name out of files that Iran has no control over, that whatever has no control over. It's still, the files are still somewhere here. So logically, to me, that wouldn't make sense to go to war. The file, even after the war is over, the files are still here. I'm just saying, I think that is kind of unlikely, but it's possible. But I'm giving it a small fraction, because white supremacy is white supremacy, as we know. If they're willing to kill a president in JFK and cover it up, that's a possible thing. But to put thousands of people at death's door to cover something that I just find that far-fetched, in my opinion. That just wanted to put that out there.
All right, I'll circle back to that. African natives, thank you so much for the donation, love, and appreciate you for that. Thank you. Sister Cynthia, thank you so much for that. Also love and appreciate you. It says, bottom line, I'm making good money from working with contractors. They are still hiring, and they pay is good. Thanks to Donald J. Trump. Yeah, I mean, like I said, this depends on who you ask or whatever. I know that neither party is for us, which is why I'm independent. I don't go either way, right? Or I could go either way depending on, what they're talking about or whatever. Now back to this, they wouldn't do that. Those good white men wouldn't do nothing like that. Well, have you heard of 9/11? Okay, depending on who you ask, that was, a distraction or whatever it is. I mean, it's all, you just go through our history where many lives have been taken. They call it what? A casualty of war. That's what they call those things. You think those people care about, those people making the decision, they think they care about the lives of innocent people when they're trying to protect their own hide. That's what the oligarchy, the machine, that's what they do. They don't care about anybody else outside of their tax bracket. But so to say that I just can't see them doing that, I can see them doing that, because at the end of the day, we're seeing other countries, though. We're seeing other countries hold their elected officials and kings and princesses and all the princes and stuff accountable for just being in the files, right? They're being arrested and a whole host of things. But to say I can't see these people taking lives to cut, are you crazy? When I say are you crazy, I don't mean that disrespectfully. I'm saying, like, huh? This is the United States of America, where they had people on the plantation, so they didn't want to work and did the most horrible things. So we talk about that same group of people. They're not a protector of people; they're a protector of themselves, regardless.
I agree with you, but let me say this. But if they did that in the United States and killed a bunch of people in the United States or deleted a bunch of people in the United States, I would kind of say, yeah, there's something going on, whatever. But to go overseas and bomb for a distraction of the Epstein file, as you guys know, Epstein was an intelligence agent for Mossad. You guys, everybody knows that. Hollywood stars are in those files. I think Whoopi Goldberg is alleged to be in the files. Joy Behar was in it. No, I said alleged. I said alleged.
They're in it, but there's people mentioned. See, that's
no. But
I want to just give it context because you threw them out there. There's a lot of people's names that are in there that were just mentioned not doing anything or have never been on the island.
Exactly. And that's my point. He is an intelligence agent. He has a lot of people's names are in there for whatever reasons. Doesn't matter. Why would you bomb other people who have no access to those files or whatever's going to the files? And yet you won't, the people that have the access, wherever these files are, you're not getting rid of those people. That's why I'm saying the logic doesn't make sense, that's a distraction. What I think it is as a military person, you still got your war hawks and stuff like that wanted regime change. America is still engaged in regime change. Yes, this is a distraction. But like you said, white supremacy, they don't care about this, they don't care about that. So it is not above them to delete their own citizens to safely get their hides cleared. So you're going to go delete a bunch of other people that have no access to these files and leave the people who have access to the files alive? I'm not saying it isn't happening, but I just don't think it's a distraction. That's just my point on it.
There have been people with access to the files that are not here anymore, mysteriously. Epstein is one of them, allegedly. And Virginia, I forget her name, Guffrey, I don't know her last name. She's allegedly not here due to taking her own, whatever it is. But come on, man. There are so many examples in history of these people taking out people to cover up their sickness. Okay.
Right. But notice what you said. These are people connected to the files. What does Iran have to do with the Epstein files? Nothing.
Okay, you know what? I'm telling you what the word on the curb is. And because I am logical, do you think it matters who it is? Starting war, that's not a war, and everybody's talking about that, thinking about what's going to go on over here. People who, come on, man, you clearly don't know the devil you talking about.
Right, but is it logical? But is it logical? But is it logical not to take out the people that have direct knowledge and of the files?
Okay, Mr. Logical, it's not about being logical, it's about being obvious. If I take out people who directly associated to the files, isn't that obvious? If people start dropping like flies that's connected to the files, that's obvious. So I'm saying,
yes, but white supremacy, Hillary Clinton, and when what she was going through, it happens. It happens.
I'm going off what you said. You drop down the breadcrumbs, and I'm trying to pick them up and line them up just nicely. We're not, logic is one thing, but if you logical, then you're also not going to do things that are obvious. Okay, like
yes, and again, I'm not going against. I'm not saying that. I'm saying I'm not saying it's far. I'm just saying it's far-fetched. I'm not saying it isn't possible. I'm not saying it's not possible. I'm just saying I just don't see that going to war and killing all these people in Australia, let's just say, just to make a distraction for not dealing with the people here in the United States. That's all I'm saying.
And I'm saying if you're logical, then you're not going to be obvious. Like when I used to sell life insurance, I don't sell it anymore. People say, oh, well, if I make that person the beneficiary, they might, do something to me. I'm like, and then the first person they're going to look at is the beneficiary because that's obvious, okay? So when you're logical, you don't do obvious things and say, oh, it was me. Okay, so I'm not saying that's what happened. I'm just telling you that's one of the narratives that are out there because not last week, right before the weekend happened, they were talking about this file of this 13-year-old that directly named Trump went missing. And they're asking Pam Bondi, Where is it? Because it was purposely taken out. That's all I'm saying. Okay. Are you talking about Karen Bass? Yes, she's running for mayor. I got my eye on what's going on out there as well. I got my eye on a lot of things. Frank, he says, I don't see how any of us don't see neither parties are for us. They not need to form our own political party. Why do we have the Congressional Black Caucus? Well, we had them because they formed in 1971 and they were supposed to be about helping Black Americans. But then when I did a little bit more research, even a lot of the people who started the Congressional Black Caucus were not Black Americans per se. They were first generation American from wherever they came from, but their people were from somewhere else. Just kind of some of the research I'm doing right now. Edward, how you doing? LBCC, what's going on with you? Says United States of Israel. That's what the word on the curb is. Brother Jonell says, thus the saying, you can't fathom the depths of Satan. Come on now. Satan is not logical, more so diabolical. So they would do whatever comes in their demonic way of thinking. It's exactly Trump basically said the young soldiers, he showed did. Young soldiers dying are not are a means to an end. We definitely can't fathom their immorality. He says, well, you know what he said? Brother Jonell specifically says it is what it is what he said. And then I heard there's some poll going around. How many is too many? So this is these people that we're saying wouldn't do these things are gambling with the lives of American soldiers. And I have a lot of people on my timeline who said my child, my son, or my daughter is over in one of those bases. And I've seen people say that they know people, who have been harmed by that. So to that point, yes, the people who are supposed to be protecting the country and all this other stuff, even their lives. And I know they go to war, whatever, the military, knowing that could be a possibility. But you got somebody shaking the dice and gambling with us, and it is what it is. I don't know about that. Gwen, how you doing? Says, I'd rather vote Trump than that Kamala and Biden any day, period. Well, Kamala says she might be coming on back to the ballot. I don't know. Remains to be seen, right? Let's see. Skipping down. DMAC was going on. She says it's the circumventing of the Constitution. They want white America to bow and kiss the ring of Israel. Well, that seems like what's going on. I don't know. I'm just paying attention. Lita, he says they are walking and chewing gum at the same time with this ploy. There's a lot going on. Kayla, how you doing? Says Donovan 47 will do anything to save his butt. I agree with Demetra. Diane says Donovan, these people don't care about life. Brother Jonell says we live in a nation that did not come on now 9/11 for their own profit. They definitely need Iran like crude oil to cut the thick crude oil they can't move from Venezuela. It's a means to an end for profit. The wicked don't motion for rational nor morality, but for their vain objectives. Donovan, jump in whenever you want. Russell says Iran must be taken out because they are financing terrorists worldwide, including Americans. That's what they say. But if you follow, and I've been kind of looking at a lot of stuff, so I don't know. I'm just observing. They're saying there's quite a few nations that were neutralized or taken out, and Iran was just the last of them. And for whatever reason, Iran has not bowed to kiss the ring. It doesn't seem like they are going to do that. So Iran is a problem. But yes, there's speculations that the Middle East is trying to be commandeered by, a certain country. We'll just put it like that. One unique Monique was going on. Says Donovan, you're talking about a man who doesn't know the word logic. Brother Stephen, he says, Donovan, I get what you're saying. Military mindset thinking. Okay. Just skipping down. Mike says BB got Trump by the but sounds like it's been not just Trump, but a whole lot of people, right? Russell, he says, let's deal with the issues that are verifiable. Well, ain't nothing verifiable. You think these people go tell you the truth? Yeah, people been running away. See, well, my problem with the verifiable thing, and I agree with you 100%, 100%. But my problem with the verifiable thing, let's go with the verifiable. Y'all believe certain narratives, but want to verify the other ones. How you know they telling you the truth at all? The fact of the matter is they not telling you the truth, because the fact of the matter is not just Black America, but all of America, we don't think. That's why. See, back in the day when they told us about 9/11 and all the other 11s and this, that, and the other, we went along with the narratives. A lot of people went along with the narratives about Muammar Gaddafi. Oh, he's a this, that, and the other to his own people. We saw him try it with Ibrahim Traore, did we not? But people was like, wait a minute now, I'm starting to think for myself. This man ain't doing nothing but trying to stabilize his country and kick out the vultures. That's all he's doing, right? But then, so they know that we don't think, so they can form Operation Mockingbird, right? All these propaganda things, and we'll believe it. Why? Because we have an appeal to authority. Well, if they saying it, it must be true. So I want to know how y'all know one source of information is verified and the other one is not. And I'm going with, because it suits your narrative, right? This is these team thinkings that we have. Oh, I'm team Democrat, I'm team Republican. And if the Republicans are saying it must be true, if the Democrats are saying it must be true. But the fact of the matter is they both lying. And they know that you want to be lied to. See, I don't have a problem with the liar as much as I do with the person who want to be lied to.
See, but that's it right there on the nail. How many Democrats are you seeing that are outraged at what is going on? Yeah, they're convening their little national security group and all that other great stuff, but the Democrats go right along with it because now the troops are in harm's way for whatever reasons. This is a game. Again, please check Nancy Pelosi's stock portfolio and a lot of other Congress members. We have to justify a $1 trillion military budget, you guys. $1 trillion. Dwight Eisenhower said it on his way out the damn door back in 1960. For every dollar that is given to the defense industry is theft from the American people and food out of an American child's mouth. $1 trillion military budget has to be justified. And I'm not saying it needs to be justified. Check those portfolios.
Brother Todd, you raise an interesting point. You says, what does Iran and the Epstein files have to do with Black people coming together and making their communities a decent and safe place to live? Most of the major things that are going on in this country have nothing to do with Blacks. We volunteer to waste our time with foolishness. You're absolutely right. And I also watched the message too, the Sunday webcast with Student Minister Ishmael Muhammad, which was great. It sounds like he's got a whole lot of continuations going on to we must make our communities a decent and safe place to live. I agree with that, but I am one too that we should be paying attention to all things that are going on around the world. See, as I said in my video yesterday on my channel, I'm not one that just checked out. Now, I don't know exactly what any of this has to do with us, but we should be paying attention. But the fact of the matter is we only talk about, and I'm going to just keep it real with y'all, we only talk about it's a distraction. We need to be focusing on the Black, and I'm not saying this about you, Brother Todd, the Black community when we talking about other things, but when we only talking about other things because we don't want to focus on the Black community. We don't want to focus on making our communities decent and safe places to live. That's what we should be talking about, but we don't talk about that. So yes, that doesn't have anything to do with us. I don't know. Some people might have met some Black Americans, over there in the Middle East or whatever it is. But I like to pay attention to everything that's going on because I don't like people to tell me something and I just go along with the okie doke. I'm just saying. Russell, you said I verify issues personally. Well, how? Can you tell us how you fact check these things? How do you fact check liars? Liars on the top, on the very top of everything. How do you fact check are you in the situation room? Like what's really going on here? And it said that Trump wanted to get a jump on what happened Saturday morning or whatever before Congress reconvened, right? So how do you know that any of the stuff that you're hearing, it's true? How do you know? I'm just asking. And Brother Janelle says facts is it is what it is, always been their motto. It's diabolical from the natives rather to now, and especially from 9/11 to now. It's always been illogical to crash humanity for profit. Come on now, via diabolical methods. Gothic has always been the American way, lying, stealing, murdering, straight Gotham. That's exactly that's how America got built. They damn near took out a whole civilization of Native Americans so that they could build America, right? A country that they're not indigenous to. They were willing to wipe them a whole bunch of people out so they can stay claim here. So that's this innately how they get down. And then they eat their wives' casserole and go lay down and wake up and do it all over again, right? K-Max says the younger generation, they do not want to live the old ways, letting some old man tell them what they can't do. Cannot do rather. They want to live like the U.S. take back their country. Okay. Vendetta, how you doing? Hope you're doing well. You says White and I say so. Bernard, what's going on? Saddam Hussein. Yeah, they roped up a narrative about him. And they said when they found him, he was like, what did I do? I was complying. That's what they said he said when they found him and before they took his life. I was complying. I don't understand what we're doing. So what he's saying is, I agreed to negotiate or whatever it is with the United States, and then they came and they went and took his life, and then put out this narrative, weapons of mass destruction, which they never found. They being under the Bush Jr. administration, they never found it. Remember, he was on that big old oil tanker or Navy, whatever it was, and it says mission accomplished and all this other stuff.
Aircraft carrier. Mm-hmm.
Huh?
Aircraft carrier.
Yeah, a boat. This is as far as I go with the military, right?
No, not true. Your baby daddy's a Marine. You should know better.
Right.
Go ahead.
Yeah,
no, but also to that same vein, they negotiated with Gaddafi to get rid of his weapons of destruction, and look what they did to him. As soon as he got rid of his stuff, they reneged on the deal and went in and took over the country, and that was under Obama and Hillary.
Absolutely. How you doing? Walter says, I'm going to do those guys he says are long on oil position. I think he's talking about stocks. He says, and missile defense system company. So he's talking about investing in stocks. And African Native says, do you recall the game Pac-Man? I sure do. Says in the earliest Windows 95, that is America. It's what they are doing today. Okay, I have to rethink about that. Walter says, I guarantee you those guys are long on oil and military companies. Gotcha. So you're saying the people who are calling the shots, their portfolios is looking real good, right?
And you guys got to think about this too. It has been over 20 years since 9/11, correct?
Yeah.
They went in there. Yeah, it's about 20 years. So they went in there, made all this money and stuff because war is big business. It's been about 20 years. You don't think these corporations need to infuse money into their coffers and do all this stuff by making these things happen? It doesn't, to me, it doesn't matter if there's a Democrat in power or a Republican. What did Biden do when in his 4 years? He bombed a few places and stuff like that and tried to kick it off and do what he needed to do. These people are one people. They're corporate Congress people. They are corporate Congress people. And in 9/11, what did Wolfowitz and all those criminals say when the thing kicked off? War, it's big. All they talked about was the money they were going to make. And then you blow up the place and then you rebuild it and all this other stuff. This is where we're at today. And a lot of these Congress people, I don't care what side you claim, you're on, it doesn't matter. They're corporatists and they're millionaires, and this is how they make their money. And if you look at America's history, every 20 or so years, every year we're involved in something, but every 20 or so years, we get into a major operation. We never declare war, and a lot of money is made. Look at Halliburton and all of these, these major corporations that do what they do. It seems we're involved in stuff all of the time. So this is it shouldn't be a surprise. $1 trillion military budget. They've got to use it.
And Donovan is he would know. He's been in the military 24 years, 16 tours of duty, Air Force pilot, and a whole lot of other stuff. As I said, he got bars upon bars. He can't even fit them on his jacket. Okay. Anyway, how you doing, William? Hope you're doing well. Says, let's get things straight. The Democrats refuse to stand for the citizens of America, the military, and a young girl recovering from traumatic brain syndrome. Then the Iranians, especially the women, dance in the street celebrating newfound freedom, while Democrat women attack the decision to attack a state-sponsoring terrorist organization, which is very close to delivering a nuclear weapon, even has proved. It says it has been ballistic missiles, liars, and frauds keep showing up amongst demons. And your comment cut off because sometimes, it don't let me get that much. But I think I got what you're saying. So, yeah, there's a lot of people celebrating the neutralization, if you will, of the supreme leader. And then there's some people who are not. I saw where there was some Iranians who were trying to get into one of the consulates, American U.S. consulates there, and they had to take some of them out. Because they were trying to, break into the joint, to say the least. Yanni, how you doing? Hope you're doing well. Walter says, historically, March is a-ish time for the stock market. Along with this war, watch politicians buy these stocks cheap, and when the war ends, the stocks shoot up. Think he was putting us on some game? Yes, indeed. Sister Charlotte says, these people have always been diabolical. Nothing surprises me what they do. Ricky, how you doing? Hope you're doing well. Let's see. LBC say this is not the Republican Conservative Party. This is MAGA. Yeah, it's kind of like the Tea Party. The Tea Party didn't last as long as MAGA did, though. Tea Party kind of came with. Russell says we are all American Indian, Black Americans, but I support America 100%. And I got your comment too. You said if we don't have a country, then Black America doesn't either. So good point. Frank says under the Democrats, see, both are deceivers and liars. All of them are. Sister Cynthia says I still couldn't see myself voting for VP Harris, Border Czar, and Governor Tampon Tim. Yeah, but Harris is like, yeah, she was asked about it. She goes, I guess she's considering. Come on now. Kamala doesn't strike me as the type of woman that's going to sit out and say, no, I'm going to pass. Nah, she going to get in there because a lot of people are gassing her up like, you were so close. Oh, I think the people are ready for you now. You should do it. Ricky says, great time to trade.
She will not get out of the primary. She cannot make it out of the primary. No, you guys, she didn't make it in 2019. They picked her in 2024. She will not make it out of the primary. We see how she does interviews. She's not going to make it.
I don't know. This might be her time to shine. People are sick of Trump now. You can do it. They have remorse now.
But here's the thing. And I'm not saying that you're wrong in that. People are sick of Trump. Here's the thing. They ran a woman in Hillary, and they ran Kamala. The Democrat, I think they've moved on from women for now, women candidates, because they just can't seem to win right now. $2 billion, and you did worse than you got to add it all up. $2 billion campaign, and you lost badly. I don't think Kamala is going to get the support, and the Democratic Party is not going to nominate a female this cycle coming up.
I don't think they're going to nominate her because I don't think they wanted to in the first place. I just think they was like, hey, we got 2 seconds to go, and she's here. So I don't think they wanted her.
And look what they're doing to Jasmine Crockett. I mean, she carried the water for the Democratic. I mean, to me, it's almost, and Kamala's not a Black woman, but the Democratic Party, it's like they just dog out Black women. I don't know if it's just me seeing this, but Jasmine Crockett acted a damn fool for the Democratic Party. And look how they're treating her right now. Look at how they're treating her right now. It's sad.
Well, they say she's polling very well here in Texas. Was the early voting, and now the voting day rather is on Tuesday. It says she's doing really well against.
Well, remember Trump was trailing Kamala in the early voting too, and then when everything she got blown out. Like I said, early voting, it doesn't really say much.
Well, that's why. Well, they said that the Democrats are out voting the Republicans here by quite a bit. But you're right. We won't know until the polls are closed as to because people change their minds and things like that all the time. So it just remains to be seen whether she's got to get out of the primaries with James Tallarico, who was a white man. But to your point about the Democrats and Black women, well, they know a lot of those Black women, they like their ego stroked or whatever it is. They like just being called the backbone of the Democrat Party and not getting anything from it. And so it's not surprising that the Democrat Party is like, yeah, you did all that rah-rah and romping and stomping and screaming and hollering, but beat it, right? They because they know that the sister, unfortunately, especially Democrats, gonna be loud and you got to this, that. I just, for me, like with Jasmine Crockett, I saw that she had went into a Latino nightclub. She walked up in there and got on the podium and said, y'all better get y'all ish together so we can turn this mother effer around. They wasn't even paying no attention. But I'm like, I wonder if she talked to white people like that. Like when she go to, white events, so she get up there and get to throwing, F-bombs and y'all better get y'all ish together. First of all, lady, they up in there drinking and dancing. They not trying to be listening to you up in the, I don't know. But yeah, that's why they treat the Black woman like that, because she wants to be treated like that. She likes being called the backbone of the Democrat Party, and they won't even give her a neck bone. Easy. How you doing? It says, if Trump needs Congress approval for war, how can he strike first without approval? It says rhetoric.
I'm glad you asked that question.
It says rhetorical question. He doesn't because shadow government calls the shots, aka the yes.
You answered the question right there.
Well, yeah. So, but the other thing too is who gonna check them? Ain't nobody. Well, they checking them here and there with the Supreme Court and different things like that, stopping him. But he's like, I'll just do it now, and then I'll ask for forgiveness later, or maybe I won't. Like, but who really gonna check me? Uh, and that's kind of too why he's having a conversation about federalizing all the elections. Is like, how you gonna federalize state elections? You want to federalize the city council election too? You know what I mean? Because he has said quite a few times that if the Democrats get the House, that he's probably going to jail. So it's like I said, what are you doing to be going to jail? Why are you afraid?
Yeah. And again, I don't think he's going to go to jail because that would set a precedence. And these people are the same people. They protect each other. This is why you could go to Congress and become an inside trader and get away with it. But if you and I did that, we're going straight to jail. They go in there and you're a public servant and you're coming out of public service. And Jasmine Crockett has been in Congress, 4 to 6 years around that time?
21.
Yeah, so she's been in there about a little less than 6 years. She came into Congress less than $1 million in, worth.
Not even that long, I don't think.
Yeah, but because she was a lawyer, she was worth less than $1 million. Now she is estimated at $10 million. Cori Bush, the former representative from St. Louis, she was a former homeless lady. She left Congress after about 6 years with a worth of $10 million. Ilhan Omar, who recorded a negative worth. She was like $15,000 in the hole or something that she reported. In 1 year, she miraculously made $30 million. And people see this. We, the American people, see this. And you see now, they're supposed to have watchdogs within Congress that are supposed to check this stuff. Are any of these people being checked? Nancy Pelosi, $300 million. She has a 70% return rate on the stock market. She does better in the stock market than experts. Nobody's checking this because they're all the same. They protect each other. It's just that simple, and we allow it. How do we allow it? We keep reelecting them into office.
Yeah, because we go along with the narratives. This party is better than that party, but both of those parties are eating better than you. Nancy Pelosi had a whole walk-in freezer for her ice cream. And she said this during the doggone pandemic where people were like, so they all are living in opulence. In fact, they said Trump, he was at a party at Mar-a-Lago when he stepped out and made the announcement that the United States, and Israel, I guess, that they struck Iran. And then he went back into the soiree and continued to party. Honestly, it's the honest truth. He did that. Right. So I'm saying that to say, yeah, they both are doing better than the both parties, people, whatever, they're doing better than everybody. And we continue to fight over who is going to be the best person to neglect everybody. There's some people who can't get a carton of ice cream, let alone walk into an ice cream closet freezer.
And here's another thing. Easy's been talking about AIPAC. A lot of you guys have mentioned AIPAC in the comments. Do you guys know AIPAC has been giving money to the AIPAC is the biggest money contributor to the CBC. AIPAC is the biggest. And here's the thing, and Demetra says it on the time, and Brother Phil says it on the time. When you control both sides of an argument, there is no argument. And that's what AIPAC does. They have bought all of these groups, the Hispanic caucus, the Asian caucus, the CBC being the biggest caucus, and we wonder why we don't get anything. But yet we have people who claim to be Jews that are our friends, but yet they have the influence to make these caucus people do what it is they do for us, our friends, and we get nothing.
Yeah, but again, we continue to vote for that. I mean, even now we're hearing people say, oh, you got to vote for the Democrats. I listen to Al Sharpton if I'm in a car in the morning and it's just the same old, we got to get it. We got to show up to vote. And I'm always like, what are we showing up to vote for? Again, what's in it for Black Americans to do that? Is there a reason we should show up to vote? Are we going to show up to vote again to help everybody else get what we ain't getting? Like, what's the reason? Give me a reason. Like, I'm in public relations, and one of the questions we have to answer is what's in it for the audience? Why should the audience, whatever it is you're doing, show up? What do they get? Just to hear you yip your yapper, bump your gums, and you can, they nobody want to just show up to hear you do that. But are you giving them something, whether it's knowledge or something tangible, like what's in it for them? So again, with what's in it for Black Americans? Why should we do that? Okay, we've tested all the theories, especially the ones voting for Democrats, and the answer, to the question is we're not going to get anything for that. We've been voting for the Democrats for decades upon decades upon decades, and the Black community has absolutely nothing to show for it. And we don't have anything to show for the Republicans either, but we don't give our votes to the Republicans. But a lot of people talking about vote a third party. How about we vote for us? Okay. As you know, they say in the Nation of Islam, vote for God, right? And vote for us. When you vote for us by, practicing group economics, doing for self, up your mighty nation, accomplish what you will. That's how we vote for self. I believe it was the Honorable Minister Louis Farrakhan, or it's Nuri Muhammad, but they all same brain in a sense, right? Said that the Asians they vote, but they don't depend on politicians to get their thing going. They practice group economics, whether they are Chinese, Japanese, Korean, Vietnamese, whatever it is. They like, we all Asian at the end of the day. We all gonna be up at H Mart because it is an Asian-owned grocery store. Okay, we gonna get something for everybody in there. As I say, when I go to Walmart or Kroger or whatever, I rarely even see them in there. I really don't. That's because they are at their own places. But I say that to say they already know, yeah, we vote, but we know we're going to get what we want. Hence rather the Asian hate crime bill, because we work together, right, in tandem, and they know that we'll shut this mug down. Asians earn a lot of money here. So they got a lot of say-so economically. We do too. But we give that say-so away. So no matter who we vote for, as long as we keep on throwing the money out of the window to every other community and not giving it to ourselves, it's just talking. It's just voting. So again, what's in it for Black Americans to show up to do it? We want reparations, right? But Dr. Claude Anderson said that we will get the reparations a lot sooner, but we hard-headed if we start working together. Keeping our money, building our own businesses, opening up our own schools, and a whole host of other things, then people start to say, oh, we don't have to dangle that carrot in front of them anymore because they don't want the carrot. They can buy their own funky carrot if they wanted to do that. But we're the only group of people who believe that our independence is come from voting. Our economic stability is going to come from voting. Well, how has that worked out? It hasn't. We are the ones that we're looking for. So let's vote for us for a change.
Well, here's the thing. We don't have to worry about that anymore. Why? Because the Democrats have a new voter base that they've flown in and they've supported, and they've shown that they will support. They're not even worried about Black people anymore. So let me ask you this, Demetra. At this point, seeing what the Democrats have continued to do over 60 years, and most recently what they've done, we saw it for ourselves visually. At this point, we know that the Democrats do not want to deal with Black people anymore. They brought in a new voter base. They don't believe in voter ID. They think Black people are dumb. And, the reason it's racist to have an ID because, we don't have the capacity to go get one. And, it's so cost too much, whatever the deal. I mean, they just totally disrespect Black people. To me, it seems to me at this point, all we got is ourselves at this point. What say you?
So I'm sorry, sum up the question one more time. You said that.
Well, sum up the question. Now that the Democrats have brought in a new voter base that they are going to support and put their resources behind, which we've seen that in real time, it seems to me we're all we got at this point. We have no allies. We have no friends. The Democratic Party ain't for us. The Republican parties haven't been for us in a very, very long time. It seems at this point, all we have is each other. So what are we going to do moving forward?
Well, we got to not only just have a continue having conversations, we got to put action to the conversations. And as I always say, I'm not trying to save the world. I need to focus on saving my family first, right? If I'm not having these conversations with my family, my daughter, my nieces and nephews, my siblings, whatever it is, and it's a futile effort because there's a lot of people out there trying to save the world, trying to buy land with total strangers and pool money together with total strangers. Like, no, pool the money together with your own household first. Have you thought about doing that? You sit up on Thanksgiving, Easter, all the holidays people celebrate. Do y'all ever have those conversations at the family reunion and say, hey, you know what? Here's a piece of land. Let's pool our money together. Because if we start having those conversations on a smaller level in our own households, then the message will spread. And then automatically, right, we're all kind of doing for self. We're focusing on buying up things because that's what the other communities do. The Asians get together with the Asians in their family. They, 99 of them in a house, and they all go work these jobs, this, that, and the other. And they say, hey, we pulled this money together. A lot of times they don't even use banks. And they say, oh, as I was driving home from Taco Bell, I saw a house up the street. We got the money. Let's buy it. Okay, bet. Then they wash, rinse, repeat. But as I said, the Hidden Secrets to Oriental Wealth, which a friend of mine by the name O gave to me years ago, it talks about that. They say we don't get into the trivial stuff of, oh, I don't like you. You left the toilet seat up. You left the toilet seat down. Well, who told you was the boss? He said they basically like, hey, shut your mouth. Shut your mouth. Okay, we got a goal and we're going to do what we need to do to get to the goal. You bickering, complaining, and all this other stuff is not helping us get to the goal. It's keeping us from the goal because we're having conversations that are not conducive to us buying that house that's for sale down the street. Okay, and then they're also able to, when they pool their money and somebody says, hey, I have a business idea. I haven't seen any cleaners in the neighborhood. I'd like to open up a cleaners. They say, there's a down payment. Is that enough? Yeah, that's enough. Okay, when you get the business up and running, bring that money back. So the next person who wants to open up a grocery store or a nail salon in the Negro community or a chicken and rice house in their community, we go, is that enough? Yeah, that's enough. When you get all those Negroes money from the nail salons after you hit them up over the head with broomsticks and all kind of stuff, accuse them of stealing eyelashes, you bring that money back so we can get the next person that come in and say, hey, I'd like to open up a beauty supply in the Black community. Okay. Is that enough? Yeah, that's enough. Okay, well, when you open it up and you get all the wigs and weaves and the women walking around, with all that on, you bring that money back so we can wash, rinse, repeat. See, that's what they do. They don't focus on the low-hanging fruit with T.I. and 50 Cent and 50, and Diddy and Cardi B and all these. But they I don't know. And they probably talk about it sometimes, but you know how they talk about it? They talk about it in their own businesses as they sipping some yak. Cardi B, she did. Oh, that's nice. But did you see that we bought 2 more houses up the street? Oh, yeah, 50 Cent. Oh, that sounds like some N-word stuff to me. Ain't got no. Well, I'm asking you, I don't hang out in Asian circles or anything, but do y'all see them online talking about what K-pop is doing all day long? Or did you hear what the K-pop? They're talking about wash, rinse, repeat. And set up some businesses in the Black American community because you ain't got to advertise. You ain't got to make them come in. All you got to do is put a sign up to say grand opening, and they're going to flock in there. They're going to spend all their money. And no matter how we treat them, what we say to them, and guess what? Their city, this is the other rub, okay? I'm cooking with gas. They city council members gonna let us do it via the city planning committee. All we got to do, and if I'm Asian, right, show up and say, "Oh, there's a store that's vacant in that community, Black community, right?" They won't say that it's vacant. I'd like to open up that, and then the city council, city planning look out into to the audience. Oh, I don't see no representatives from the Black community here to oppose it. Well, I don't see why not. That's a great idea. And then we get activated when we see that they done put up the grand opening sign in the neighborhood and we already got 99 nail shops in there. And then we go up in there and say, we don't want that in there. And then they're like, well, we decided in the community on a city planning committee, but you didn't show up. So there was nobody here to oppose it. So we just let them. That's how that happens because we are apathetic. We talk about low-hanging fruit all day long. We don't want to get together around the table and talk about group economics because when we start talking about money, then who gonna be in charge? We want to start talking about that kind of stuff, and we just kill the idea on inception. It never gets out of the house, right? So I'm saying these things not to say that we are horrible people, but we have been taught to think horrible when it comes to our own people, but we have no qualms about going to give other people who care nothing for us all of our money and then whine and complain and want somebody. Boy, I tell you, student Ishmael Muhammad today gave a hell of a message. I swear for God and all the disciples not to be disrespectful. I'm going to clip a part of it. I'm gonna clip a whole bunch of it, and I'm gonna talk about this on the African Diaspora News Channel. When I tell you this man broke it all the way down to the brokers of brokestivity. There should not be not a black person disagreeing with any of that. After that said, and when I'm gonna say what I'm gonna say.
You guys want to hear a really crazy statistic that I found out earlier this week? Military recruiting in the Guard and the reserves. There is a high number of Asians that are enlisting into the Air National Guard, the Guard, whatever, reserves in the military. They are the number one recruiting group from allegedly, from what I've heard, from the source that I've heard. And what they are doing, these young people, they're going in there for their little 4 years, whatever. I'm not saying they're all going to combat, they're going to the Navy, whatever they're doing. And they're using their benefits as veterans to get their first starter houses and all this other stuff. And somebody said it in the chat. Let me see who it is right here. It is Cynthia Haynes says this: them folks enter into the USA illegally or legal, and the Democratic Party and the government in general gives them government funding and our resources to help them set up shop while building their culture and families generationally. And that's true. And like I said, the military is not for everybody. I'm not going to say it is. But notice how these Asians see a source of getting backing and support, and they're going to it, and they're making that sacrifice. I'm not saying it's for everybody. I'm not pushing the military, but I'm just saying as a people, they will use and make a sacrifice together to get what they need to get to set themselves up. We could do the exact same thing. I'm not saying the military is for everybody, because it ain't. But again, there are a lot of resources that the government has out there that we don't even use. That's my point. The programs that are out there, we don't even use, but they do.
Yeah, absolutely. And Russell, you make a good point. It says you must lift yourself first. If you wait for the black community, you will never get anything done. Yeah, we need to lift ourselves and our own families. And I just think it'll just be right. But like I said, there's a lot of people on this internet. If you just send in $5, we can build this, whatever. It's like, well, I cannot give you that unless I've given somebody in my family that, right? It's doable. We just got to unlearn that crab in a bucket mentality, and we just have to unlearn that, and if we're willing, we can do it. We can unlearn that. LBC says one thing I can say about Demetra, says she does not play to one side, she give it to both sides for the BS. Yeah, and because I think that's the fairest way to be, and I know, and I appreciate that, because I know there's a lot of people who will play to one side. I'm gonna play to I'm not gonna play to either side. I want to play logic. I like to think about things, you know what I mean? And I know sometimes I will say things that are not popular. I'm not trying to be popular, because at the end of the day, I have a higher power that I have to answer to behind misleading people. If I ever mislead people, it's not on purpose. It's not something I'm setting out to do. I'm not gonna rah one side to get likes and views. I tell you all the time, boy, if I was to do that kind of stuff, I'd be wealthy. I just get on here and gaslight all day long and, and feed red meat to one side and that. Because black people, especially us in America, black Americans, we got to become thinkers, because they make a lot of money because we don't think. We feel. We're very emotional people, right? Oh, I got to vote blue no matter who it is. Like, that is so not logical. There's a lot of things that are blue you can vote for. That's not going to do you any good. You know what I mean? So, yeah. Let's see. Tyrone, how you doing? Says they are slowly taking over soul food. And we ain't. I could just have a convulsion right here. And we eating it. And we are eating the soul food that's coming from people from Seoul, Korea. How are you eating fried chicken from people who can't fried chicken? How you eating greens and yams and well, really we shouldn't be eating that all the time. Well, how you eating it from them? I don't get it.
Because me good. Me Joe, me make good thin flour for you from New Orleans. We got good kitchen. Very good.
That may be true. Let me tell you. Let me cut the cap and stop the lies. Last time I was in New Orleans, there's this one place. And I kid you not. Every black person we ask, where is it good to eat? Thank you. Where is a good place to eat? Where's a good place to eat? They sent us to this, I don't know what they were, but Asians. They had all the yakumen, the gumbo, and all. Where I tell you, everything was nasty. I was so mad. I was so
That's because you didn't have your Louisiana hot sauce.
That's why I didn't even know they was Asian when we got there, right? I don't have no car, so we took an Uber. We took the Uber over there. We got out, and they was, no shade to them. They was Asian. All right, we here. When I tell you everything was nasty, I was so mad. And I'm like, 3 Negroes told us to come here. They didn't know each other. This different people told us, you got to go there. We like, okay, bet. It sound like the place on that table was nasty. But guess what? Nothing but Negroes all through it. I'm like, this is the nastiest food I've ever tasted. I was furious because of giving all New Orleans, I think that's the hub of seasoning in America. And y'all eating over there, it was like water. And like the yakumen was like water.
Seasonless soup, huh?
It didn't have no seasoning. It would just taste like tap water and noodles and eggs.
Yes. Avenge the Ancestor says, Brother Don, that's not true. The name of the game is to disenfranchise foundational Negroes. None of these other groups is doing anything special. Well, here's the thing, and I think you kind of missed my point, Avenge the Ancestors. When it comes to programs that are specifically for FBAs, we're the least likely to use them. Affirmative action. Who benefited from affirmative action more than anybody else? A white woman. When it comes to our benefits, now I'm a veteran, and I know this for a fact. The least likely group of people to use their veterans benefits are Black people. That is a fact. You go to any government programs in my city right now, there are a bunch of things that are out there that could help people. Dog adoptions, dog vaccinations, whatever programs are out there, Black people are the least likely to use them. You want to know why? Because we're the less informed, like Demetra says. We're too busy worried about what Cardi B is saying. We're too busy worried about, Jasmine Crockett said this. Ooh, girl. This is that. We're not paying attention to the things that we need for the next generation to set them up. And that's just a fact. We might not agree on this, but I can tell you, it is a fact. You could go to any government entity and request the numbers in a public records request. The least likely group to use any type of benefit is Black people.
The sun went down. That's why I'm drinking water, okay? I haven't had water or anything since 6:20 this morning, okay? I tore that water up. Yeah, because we have that I'm good mentality. I'm good. Are you? Okay. Kwan, how you doing? So you asking Donovan, did he see TBA? What's TBA?
The Black Authority last night. I didn't see it. Okay. And again, I can't tell you how many veterans. I'm at the hardware store. I can't tell you how many Black veterans will come up to me because they had heard about me or saw me on TV or something, seeking me out to help them with their benefits. These are Vietnam era guys that let money sit on the table.
And Russell, you say Black people are stupid. They give their money to Arabs, and Arabs hate Black people more than any other group. I wouldn't say we're stupid. I say we're more conditioned than anything. We don't see a problem with that, but that's why we got to keep having these conversations to wake us up. I tell you one thing, they didn't go kidnap a stupid people. You know what I mean? So we're a lot of things, and sometimes we are a little silly, but we just need to keep educating each other and say, why would you do that? And as many people in the Nation of Islam, I saw Brother Phil, he covered a segment years ago. They ran up into this, it was like an Arab liquor store or something. It's like, y'all don't eat pork, but why would you sell pork in the Black community? Why are you're selling what you don't eat? So you're selling poison to other people and you won't eat it. But I always say that too. When you go up into these, I don't know, chicken and rice houses, which I've never been up into or anything like that, these buffets, you don't see they people in there eating like that, or in the beauty supplies, the nail salons, shops. Have you seen Asian women sitting up in there getting their nails done? You see white women, you see Black women or Mexicans or whatever, but you don't see they women up in there. Why? Where they getting their nails done at?
Right. And then think of the portions they serve us here. They stack all that rice and stuff on top of it. Now, when we were in Japan, like Dimitri reminded me of the Nutty Professor. What is this? A little, little snacks. Dimitri thought the slots were snacks.
When we went to Japan, forgive me, I don't ever eat on here, but I'm eating something now. So, because I don't really like eating late, but it is what it is. We went to Japan. When I tell you that little hamburger was like that, I said, "Who's supposed to eat that? Is there more? Is where's the rest of it?" It's like 8 French fries in the dang on the tray. I was like, and it wasn't even no big French fries, like no big old potato wedges. It was a little bit French. I said, "Who's supposed to eat that?" But then it dawned on me. I said, "Well, that's the sizes we're supposed to eat. In America, we just eat like hogs, right? There's a bunch of slop in front of us, like, and we just eat until our stomachs bust open." Sister Cynthia said, "Demetri, you already know the Democrats are not giving black people ish. No, they not, and they never will, never have, right?" So yeah, Emma, you say Hispanics are also getting citizenships for their parents. They were, but Trump was like, "Yeah, no, we're gonna have to put a halt on that, right?" So yeah. And Carlette, I love your vision. You said, "Yes, my vision for Black America is also us as an engineering students to design our own airlines. Come on now, our own cruise ship. Now that is Black power. That's what I'm talking about, and that's what Marcus Garvey was trying to do. And then we know what happened with that. African Native says they joined the military to acquire soft skills only. Yeah, and get those good old benefits, right? Sammy, how you doing? Says, yes, sacrifice of others is real. It says they will clean toilets in a college so their children could attend. They sure will. And our families used to do that as well. As I always tell y'all, both of my grandmothers were domestics, right? That means that they work for white folks, take care of their children and things like that. So yeah, our families did those as well. But I don't blame them. I mean, hell, I used to clean houses too. I had a whole master's degree, was cleaning houses. Then I had to rearrange my understanding. It's like, okay, you need to believe in yourself just a little bit more, right? But if I ever had to do it again, I would, because I'm not above putting food on the table. Okay, and there's some other things you can do. I'm just ain't gonna do those things.
See, but I just want to say this. Another reason I think a lot of these groups do better than us as a community is because, again, they work together and they stay together. They get their, even the white man still does this. The white man and the white woman, they work together. The black, we used to do that. And, we got to get back to that. I don't think we would be successful as a people until the black man and the black woman get back together, because together you could do a lot more than when you're by yourself. There are a lot of homeless black men. Come to California, you will see, well, in the United States, the most homeless is the black person, right? But if you come to California, you'll see a whole bunch of young black men just pushing carts and baskets around. And you're starting to see a lot of black women with children that are homeless looking for resources. And, and again, I don't think it would be, the numbers would be as high as they are if we would learn to stay together with each other. I know, relationships don't work out, but guess what? In those other groups, I have a friend at the hardware store. He don't even like his wife no more, but they're staying together for the kids. And I'm not saying that's why you should stay together. That's the least you should try to stay together, because of the kids. But he knows and she knows it's a contract that's best for them as a family or whatever they're doing. They're staying together.
Yeah, it's cheaper to keep them. Yeah, it's easy. Portion size. That's one thing when I went to Japan, I did learn about portion size. I'm like, oh, no wonder why we swollen and fat over here, because we just eat too much. Them people little, they walk everywhere. They take the subway, they eat little bitty portions, and their food is healthier. They drink a lot of soups and vegetables and things like that. I'm like, oh, I was probably the fattest person over there in the whole doggone country. Well,
y'all stay y'all butts out of the 7-Eleven. Maybe you would have slimmed down a little bit.
But even they 7-Elevens got fresh smoothies you can make. Like the 7-Elevens over here got I don't even think they had ices in that 7-Eleven. Yeah. So they got like food for real. Yeah, we was at 7-Eleven more than our share. Them 7-Elevens is different. They different over there. I'm telling you, they are. You get you a fresh smoothie in the morning. Got me one every morning. You go get it, and they have everything put together. You put it in the smoothie blending machine, and you just, you know. So yeah, portion size. That's one thing I did take away from Japan was they don't be just pigging out like that. Uh, Double A, how you doing? Says, what about a United States Air Force rank? Was Donovan a captain or a major? I know the answer. He's a major. Donovan was, I'm telling you, he was a major. He was major. He was big deal. Okay.
However, I started in the enlisted ranks. Yeah, I came in as a E3.
Yeah, Donovan had to fight his way up through the ranks. Strong Humble, how you doing? Says, I salute Donovan because I wasn't going to fight any wars. I do too. I wanted to go, but my dad is like, sit your black ass down. And I sat myself down.
So she did the next best thing. She had her baby by a Marine.
Okay? So did. African Native said many highly educated Black folks in the West do low profile jobs. Yeah, and you know what though? I always say this too. It's not what you make necessarily. I mean, it is to a degree, but it's what you keep. There's people over here balling, as far as income. They're making a lot of money, but they don't keep none of it because they live it high on the hog. They got, these big giant houses and cars and these lifestyles. And then they talk about, hey, can I borrow $20 from you to next payday? And it's like, what? Ain't you the one that be on social? I said, ain't you the one on social media? You over here and you're over there. You're vacationing and you're doing this and you got the Gucci's and the Uchis and the all this. Ain't that you? Yeah, but. And I'm working at Taco Bell, but I got all the lights on, right? Bills is paid, but you want to borrow my funky little $20 that you ain't gonna give back. So yeah, it ain't what you make, it's what you keep. There's people who got a little meager little job, little something, right? But they, they not spending all their money eating out all day long and telling the kids yes when they should be telling them no, and one of the books I read was Debt to Slavery. Slavery to Debt, rather. And it talked about back in the day, the woman stayed home. They had one car. She had 2 or 3, maybe 4 dresses. The husband, father had 3 suits, 2 for work, 1 for church.
And she knew how to sew and make the dresses if she needed to do and patch up the kids' clothes. Yep.
And she went to the market, okay, when he got off or whatever, they went, on the weekend and made a list, and they wasn't just going up in there just throwing stuff in the basket. They had a list of things, right? They budgeted, and the woman was savvy. She was financially savvy. She knows that my husband is bringing in this, and I cannot be throwing out that. As my dad say, a man bringing a spoonful of money, and a woman is shoveling it out the back door, right? So then he got there, and that's what Farrakhan said too. Some of these, women, you're driving your man to get all these jobs because you want stuff he can't pay for. So it's we especially like you said, Donovan, to your point of us getting back together, we got to work together too. You can't just get back together and say, well, I want this, I want that, I want this. Listen, lady, I work in a damn warehouse. I don't own the warehouse. You know what I mean? And you driving them back to, and then that's why a lot of these men, working 45 jobs, trying to keep their woman happy, and they end up dying early because, when do you sleep? So it's not what you make, it's what you keep.
Right. And being realistic, ladies, the $50,000 a month thing. Who's that girl? Some lady I saw something on this. She's talking about a man needs to pay her $50,000 a month. You got to be realistic. You got to be realistic in this stuff. I mean, the real world, like you said, I work at a warehouse, so I'm probably making $22 an hour, and I live in California, which means I am poor. I am just covering the rent. I can't even get cable. We have to use antenna.
Yeah. $50,000 a month. Ooh.
It was one of these love and hip hop people or something. It was just totally crazy what she was saying. I think Crimson Cure, the Crimson Cure covered it or something like that.
Yeah, them women are stupid. See, I don't watch love and hip hop and things, but I see sometimes the backstories of they broke, they mansion is they was renting it, and they 2 years behind on the rent because they fronting for TV and social media and things like that. Any woman that demand a man to give her $50,000, well, what you gonna do for the $50,000? I'm not being gross about it. I mean, I'm just saying, what are you gonna do? Cute is subjective. That's anybody can be cute. Hell, back in the day, maybe not so much, but all this plastic surgery, people financing and stuff, going to the DR, Brazil, Mexico, the lady in the back alley, getting all these plastics. So you can be pretty. So what do you have other than being pretty and a hole? And I'm not trying to be gross, but you have a hole. Most women have a hole. In fact, they got a few. And there's some women, see, I'm about to get in trouble. Some women, and they be like, oh, she letting you use one, I'll let you use all three. Okay. So what are you doing for the $50,000 besides just being cute?
Well, we've heard of Dubai, the porta potty stuff. So,
I mean, yeah, but after a while, I wonder how many people was over there in Dubai being a porta potty when them bombs went off. It was like, damn, what you eat? You know what, Donovan? People tell me all the time. They say you should write a book for men. I'm like, one day I will. I'm just saying. A woman want y'all to give her $50,000. Y'all best to be asking her. Like,
well, can I just say this? And this is just my observation, ladies. And for those of you guys that haven't seen the movie or read the book, The Stepford Wives, you guys all are looking the same. You're all shaped the same. You have the same hairstyle. You have the same everything. There's no originality to it anymore. And I'm just like, it's some of you. Well, if you watch the movie The Stepford Wives, it's very creepy. It's macabre. Ladies, if you haven't seen that movie, and you look around and you see that you got somebody that looks like you and looks like you. I mean, that look plays out afterwards. Kind of like, remember when everybody was wearing the parachute pants in the 80s? After a while, they move on to the next trend, So I think the new trend is going back to being natural now, what the ladies are doing.
It should be. Listen, this is probably because I haven't really eaten, so y'all can forgive me or whatever, or maybe I'm just being brutally honest. A lot of these women run around looking like men. When I say they're looking like men, I'm not trying to be mean. I'm just saying some of them, because, and I've heard quite a few men say this as well. Brother Phil has talked about this a lot. So it's not just to be mean. It's just true. A lot of women, you can't tell them the difference between them and the trans community. You can't, because they all went back in the day, the drag queens, right? They would wear all the makeup and the wigs and all that because they had the 5 o'clock shadow they couldn't cover up, right? But now you see women walking around like that. It's like, man, like me, I wear some makeup on here, but I don't wear like foundation stuff. I wear some blush, and lipstick, right? And some and mascara, whatever. Okay. But I'm not trying to shame anybody. I just can't do it. Y'all see, I sweat. I've been wipe my whole face off. It'd be all over the doggone napkin, or whatever it is. But I would just say this, because I have conversations with women, and some of the women be like, well, in a sense, he gonna get what I give him. It's like, okay, I get it. I'm not saying you shouldn't be you, but if your man or a man or that you're interested in is saying, hey, I don't like all of that or whatever it is, maybe you should take that into consideration. You know what I mean? And then if you don't, then be fine with a man that likes all that, because there's men who like all that. I promise you there are. But if a man is saying, I am like, you're two different people. When I go to work and you have the bonnet on and I come home, it just hair everywhere. I didn't even recognize you, right? I think we should take that into consideration. I'm gonna say this too. For the men, this is me being double-sided, right? I don't know, men, if your woman's saying you funky and you need to take a bath, or I don't like them holes in your drawers and your socks, and can you put on the new shirt that I bought you in the closet? Put on some slacks and come up out them slides in the socks. You should acquiesce that, right? Because I'm gonna just say this to you, okay? And I'm not trying to tell nobody to cheat. I've been cheated on by every man that I have been with, except for my high school sweetheart. And even he told me when I go to the Navy, my uncle said I might cheat. We broke up, okay? But I'm not saying this is a reason to cheat. But after a while, you're with somebody and I'm not going to do it. I'm not going to do it. You don't tell me what to do. You getting what's coming out this bonnet. Or are you, I like these drawers. After a while, people like, it shouldn't even be this damn hard. Then they start having conversations with people at the job. Man, you know what? I bought my wife this new dress and she won't even put it on. All she wears is bonnets and moo-moos all day long and talking smart and sassy to me all day long. And guess who he telling that to? He telling it to Big Booty and Boom Quisha, who work at the
Big Booty Belinda. Yep.
For real? Oh, you know what? If I don't know why. If I was your woman, oh, I wouldn't be. You come home and I would always be. Yeah, I know. I wish she would do that. And then he come back to work the next day. And I learned this game from my daddy. Okay. And next day, and then pretty soon they have a conversation they ain't supposed to be having because he done started off going to the job talking about how hard-headed you are, and he just trying to get a feminine perspective, right? Because he at home with you all day. I'm giving the game, okay? He out at home with you all day, and you masculine all day. I ain't gonna tell me what to do, and then you don't be telling. Sound like a chihuahua or a rottweiler. So then he go home, he go to the job, and again, he talking to a feminine perspective. Oh, really? Oh, God, that's so. Why does she talk to you like that? Oh, you know what? And then tomorrow, guess what she do? Oh, I understand. You said she doesn't cook. I brought you just the fruit. Wait. Waited to his hell. A fruit, pieces of ham, greens, some cornbread, some yams.
What wasn't there a situation like that up in Detroit where the bus driver was the supervisor and the girl, and she was married and he was married, but they were having an affair, and they didn't pick up the bus people for like an hour because they were not knocking boots, and
there's stories like that everywhere. Okay, so listen, I'm just speaking from a lady's point of view. But to ladies, if that's you barking at your dude all day long at home, you gonna tell me what to do? You better get this top ramen. Yeah, you know how to cook. And then when he start bringing, wait, hold on. When you finally decide to do the dishes, because women like that don't like doing dishes, okay? But when you finally decide to do the dishes, you washing the dishes and you see some Tupperware that don't belong to you. Well, who the hell been bringing you something to eat? Oh, no, just my homegirl at the job. She made a few pieces of ham, some turkey necks, some collard greens and stuff. Well, why she did do good? And if he got a backbone, he like, because you be woofing and acting like a dude all day long and talking about I ain't gonna cook is what's wrong with you. And so she started to bring me something to eat. Okay? And you don't let me use none of your hoes, but she let me use all her. Never mind. We're going to get out of here before I get in trouble. Donovan, what say you?
Yes, before we go, I want to do a quick segment. Behind me, Demetra, name me this group. I sent you the music via email recently. Sitting here in this chair, waiting on you.
Rolls Royce.
Rolls Royce. Rolls Royce.
Kind of blurry. I was going to say Rolls Royce or Midnight Star or
Midnight Star. SOS Band.
Yeah.
SOS Band.
Yes.
Rolls Royce, for those of you guys that don't know, this is the greatest hits. And if you guys want to hear some really good music by Norman Whitfield, he used to be the producer, in a Motown producer, and he was really good with the Temptations. Had a lot of hits with them, David Ruffin, all those other guys. But Rolls Royce got the greatest hits album. Man, if you don't have that in your collection, I don't know. The Stylistics is another one. That's from the Big Three, the Philly sound. But Norman Whitfield, great producer. Rolls Royce owned the late 70s. The lead female singer, she only put out one album, and they were featured on the soundtrack of Car Wash. That's where they got their basic start. They put out that one album with her as the lead singer. Then they had other lead singers on the way. But for those of you guys that want some really good music, go pick up Rolls Royce. And I know you guys have a lot of great musical taste. Demetra is really, really big into music like myself. And I'm going to tell you, if you don't have Rolls Royce's greatest hits or Rolls Royce album in your collection, you need to go get it.
Absolutely. So anyway, we're going to get out of here. We'll be back tomorrow. Donovan, I think we're supposed to be interviewing Tamara. I got to reach out to her. She sounds like she got some news about reparations, and she wants to give us. So I'll have to reach out to her and see if we'll do a podcast tomorrow. Then we'll do a live show as well. So yeah, Anyway, we're gonna get out of here before I get in trouble because I was really about to you know, Donovan and I one day will maybe start talking about relationships and stuff again. Because I think those relationships are, I mean, conversations are important to have. Cause Donovan and I, we some old, you know, geezers at this point, and we've been through a lot, relationships, all kind of stuff. So I think we have some, and like with a lot of y'all, right? We got some things to share. A lot of things I share from experience or whatever, and then some of them I just kind of see other people go through or whatever. But as I said, just from a woman's point of view, my daughter told me there was this post the other day she read says, I think my next man I'm gonna start listening to. I'm gonna start listening to my next man because it's getting rough out there.
Yeah, did you hear that video of the women the snow? And the women are out there snowing and digging the snow out and stuff like that. And they're like, I need a man. And it's like women shouldn't be plowing snow. Men should be plowing the snow.
I always say that every time I gotta take the trash out. And that's all I need them for is to take the trash out and then go. Beat it. I'm just playing. Absolutely. Yes, Sister Diane. Everything is so fake. Now, can we get back to the 90s type of love? Can we get back to the 80s where we could just step outside and be in a relationship? You be in a good relationship too, right? With Donovan, it wasn't hard to get no relationship back in the day. Nowadays, everybody got an agenda. They got an angle. They want $50,000 a month from a dude working at McDonald's. It was like, can we just get in a relationship? You love me, I love you.
Can we just find good people, you know, just and work with them and work together? That's all it takes. You don't need a lot. You don't need a lot of money to be happy. I go to the park over here, Demetra, and I see these Hispanics over there with their kids and the women. I don't know if they're married or not, and they're just having the greatest time of their lives.
Nah, we want to go to Ruth Chris, and then after that, we want to go to Morton Steakhouse and Steak 48. You know, on the just like I ain't gonna do no coffee dates. Coffee, like are you here for the dinner? Are you here to get to know me? Because if you're here for the dinner, I'm gonna take you to Taco Bell. You know what I'm saying? I'll take you to Taco Bell.
And you can even supersize because I ain't, you know, I'm a good guy. You can supersize.
Yeah, that's why I said God knew not to make me no man because I wouldn't be no earthly good. They'd be like, man, he a cold piece. Hey, Art, how you doing? Yes, Sister Cynthia, I want to get back to the old relationship. Yeah, it's just the relationships don't relate. People got an agenda. They plotting on you. You don't even know. I'm a God-loving man, and he teaching the devil how to be evil, and you just have no earthly idea. And it's like, word, for real, you gonna do me like that? Anyway. Let me get out of here. And Easy says, everybody got preferences instead of love. You know, I don't have a problem with people having a preference, you know, because everybody don't want a bald head man, you know, or whatever. So people have the preferences, but if that's all you looking for a person for, broody, not beauty, broody fades. Okay, it fades. We all gonna get older, you know. We try to hold on to it for as long as we can, but then what? That's why I see a lot of people jumping from relationship to relationship because they train people in. I'm training this. Oh, her booty bigger. Oh, I want that.
Did you see that little clip on Lisa Ray? They were asking her about relationships. Like she recently lost her mom, I guess, when she was in this other relationship she's talking about. Now, I was watching Lisa Ray, still a beautiful woman. Her mother was beautiful. She comes from beautiful women, right? Demetra comes from beautiful women, right? And Lisa Ray is what, 58, 59? And she's still talking about when it's going to happen, it's going to happen. Ladies, Lisa Ray, she still looks great, but she still is holding on to that BS like it's going to happen, it's going to happen. I'm very sure good men have come up to her and wanted to date her, but, oh, he ain't making this, he ain't got that, whatever the deal is. Lisa Ray is now 58, 59 years old. You know, reality is what it is. When are you going to, you know, settle down? And that man, whoever she's looking for, ooh, good reference to Car Wash. What did the guy say at the end of Car Wash, Demetra? He said, I'm your prince. I'm your prince.
She said her prince need to have some money, okay?
Yeah, but at 58, 59, you haven't secured the guy yet? I don't think I'm not saying it's not going to happen, but the odds.
She's some pretty, wealthy dudes and stuff. But the problem is they wanted to cheat.
Well, yeah, but then again, what's the common denominator in all relationships? Sometimes it's you, the person, right? My relationships, it's me. So it's all in their purse and everything. But ladies, men, we got to be realistic and we got to look at ourselves and say, hey, this is where I'm at now. I'm not that 20-year-old hot thing I used to be. I'm not saying settle, but sometimes you got to settle and be realistic about it. So let's get out of here.
Yeah. The Kwame says, don't lower your standards. Maybe your preferences, then you'll find your partner right in front of you. Yeah, you never know. I mean, people, they doing too much. I mean, everybody can't be with Elder Barge. Denzel Washington, they taken, So you might have to settle for a Donovan or something. It's okay, ladies. It's okay. Anyway, love and appreciate every last one of y'all. See y'all tomorrow. Peace.